Yeah, the big idea, I'm just kind of teasing out. Some ideas are in your head, but you don't really communicate them. And the big idea is about like reusability, making things reusable and findable. Leverage is doing work and that work benefiting you. Do work once or input once, output over and over again, right? So the whole idea is that if we figured out how to do the kind of work that we only had to do once, right? Or we do it once and long into the future, we're still benefiting from it, then that just makes our life easier. So what we're really talking about is reusability. And the secret to having something reusable, example, libraries in a physical library or a digital library, they have to be findable. If you can't find something, then you end up saying, oh, well, I'll just start from scratch. In other words, when things are not made findable, people tend to start from scratch. So there's a big idea here is there's a link between making something more findable and making something more reusable, and that's where we get the leverage. And so what I'm realizing is that every day, it doesn't matter, just to reiterate this point because it's super important. Every day we are producing and we're producing content, right? People are having Zoom calls every day, and they're probably not thinking, okay, how do I? And they're recording it, but most people don't go. Most if employers did probably a survey of what happens after their staff gets off a live Zoom call. What happens with the recorded Zoom calls? Probably very few people are using those recorded calls, which are digital assets, assets that can be used for training, assets that can be used for increasing your visibility through content marketing, assets that can be used to train machine learning models. So you have to think through how to make your daily creation of digital assets, make it more those assets more findable, more reusable. And when you have assets that are more findable, meaning you're not going to have to. Sometimes the work that it takes to find something on your hard drive or stored in the cloud is more work than it takes to just start from scratch again. That's why people do it. So when you make your assets more findable and more reusable, then for one given bit of input, you get ever increasing output, and that's where the leverage is. And that's why I'm very happy. And I feel like this is even a hack for people when you have your meetings. Like consider Google. I mean, consider YouTube lives, but do it unlisted. Or there's probably a way to do it with Google Meet, right? Because that's pretty much the same technology. And then once they're stored in the cloud, then you can figure out how to start reusing that content. What I've just described here is a training that can be shared and will be shared with an, an internal and an external audience. And I think that a year from now, if I had not recorded this morning strategy session call, I wouldn't be able to look back, first of all, and see the progress. But this very valuable IP would not be shareable in a one to many format. So I'm very excited about it. And again, people aren't really thinking about their internal their, their internal conversations is conversational content that can be used for training and can be used for eventually um, content marketing, because content marketing is just nothing but sharing valuable content for free with the audience with a call to action, right? And oftentimes your internal calls, as long as you're mindful of the privacy of the confidentiality of certain things, whether you're talking to clients or you're talking to your internal team, is super useful. So I'm ecstatic about what just happened today in terms of our call. Wrap up the whole idea of comparing the periodic table in science to like a periodic table of digital assets, and understanding that the core idea of a periodic table is breaking things down to they're almost quote unquote reusable components, or components that are found in nature of just not just one thing. And once you are able to understand those things that you use in your business that are applicable in many different um, um, outputs, then you can start saving them properly and finding and making them more findable and then reusing them. And then you don't have to be starting from scratch, right? The definition of anti-leverage is starting from scratch. Let me say that again, right? If I had to think of a term that would help somebody visualize what the opposite of leverage, I would say starting from scratch. All right. So this is Shola. Take care and take action.